أعطي الكلمة الآن إلى ممثل أقدر تماما
meeting. Indeed, food security is one of the most pressing global challenges. The war in Ukraine has brought multidimensional consequences for this country, for Europe, and for the world. The brutal, unjustified, and unprovoked illegal military aggression of the Russian Federation against Ukraine has already caused extensive damage and loss of life, also spreading across rural areas and triggering massive displacement. The Russian aggression is thus also leading to a massive food security challenges, as it has disrupted to a significant extent the agricultural season in Ukraine. At the same time, the blockage by Russia of the Ukrainian ports, especially Odessa, has interrupted the Ukrainian grain exports towards their destinations, thus exacerbating the food crisis in important areas around the world. Thus, today's discussion is particularly timely as it brings us together to act swiftly in solidarity with Ukraine and with many countries depending on Ukraine's agriculture in a pragmatic manner. It is high time to work together so that the challenges of the Moscow's war to our food security are curbed in due time to the benefit of all those in need. Ladies and gentlemen, as a neighboring country and the EU and NATO member state with the largest border with Ukraine, Romania has been on the front line of the swift response to the humanitarian crisis in Ukraine, providing support to refugees, now nearing 1 million people who crossed our border, as well as to the people of Ukraine who remained on the ground to fight against Russia, including through the hub we created for the collection and distribution of international humanitarian aid to Ukraine near the Romanian-Ukrainian border. At the same time, in the context of the hardships encountered by Ukraine in exporting grain, the Romanian government acted in support of the Ukrainian economy and of the countries around the world dependent on its agriculture. Thus, we have liberalized the transport conditions for Ukrainian exports, especially for agricultural products. As an immediate response, the Romanian authorities are also facilitating the transit of products from Ukraine through the ports of Galați on the Danube River and Constanța, which is the largest port at the Black Sea. Romania is in one of the best geographic positions to act as a transit and export hub in this context. We are looking at all possible solutions in order to ensure better access to Romanian ports on Danube River and to Constanța port at the Black Sea. Compared to the previous year, in the last couple of months, there was an exponential increase in the transit of corn on inland waterway, rail and road transport, the quantities of barley on inland waters, and sunflower seeds on road and inland waters. Furthermore, at European level, Romania holds a leading position in terms of sunflower and corn production, which makes my country one of the most relevant actors in this field. Taking all this into account, my country remains a determined contributor to the regional and global stability and food security. At this very point, I would like to express Romania's support for the actions proposed by the Roadmap for Global Food Security, with a focus on the need of ensuring safe maritime transport in the Black Sea, the lack of which would threaten food security at a global scale. Capitalizing on the potential of the Romanian port of Constanța at the Black Sea is strategically relevant. The capacity of the Constanța port is significant. Only last year we shipped a record high of more than 25 million tons of grain. Thus, Constanța became the first European port for grain exports. In this framework, the first corn transport from Ukraine since the beginning of the war left the Constanța port at the end of April. We continue to deliver additional shipments with more than 240,000 tons of Ukrainian grain until now. At the same time, ensuring safe maritime transportation in the Black Sea calls for safe water or blue corridors. This requires both a collective effort to transport the Ukrainian grain and also protection against the floating mines. So we call for a wider international effort, a coalition of the willing, to mobilize the support of as many states as possible to create such a corridor, including with a maritime component for transporting Ukrainian products, especially grain, to third countries waiting for them, including routes through Romania and the port of Constanța, and from here to the Black Sea Straits, and then to their destinations. At the same time, we call for a rapid, coherent and solid operation of protection against and of neutralizing floating mines with the support of all interested parties. Let me reiterate in the end Romania's readiness to continue its aforementioned efforts in order to contribute to avoiding an aggravation of the international food crisis in the current context. Thank you.